we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGT. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
Alright guys, welcome back. I was actually starting to edit this and I realized I never made the intro, so here's your intro. We're gonna get working on modifying the frame on the Galaxie. We're gonna get stuff tore out of the Crown Vic. I got some diff work I'm starting on, and I've got some transmission work I'm doing, plus some stuff I've done to the engine. So alright, now we'll cut to the video and I'll film some more stuff here while I'm out. Okay, it has been a miserable rainy day all day. So it's like, holy crap, it's almost 5. And we haven't filmed anything. So what have we done, Josh?
Well, our former Miles of Mayhem car is now just a husk. But we have suspension.
Yeah, and
Frame rails.
there's the front frame rails off the Crown Vic. There's some other random pieces. I got rid of all the front sheet metal and stuff at home, and I'll put that footage in right after this for you. But yeah, we got the front whole suspension cradle assembly out. We got the front rails out so that if we have to use parts of them on the front of the Galaxie, we can. We're just undoing a few things so we can set the engine and transmission down maybe separate from the body here. And then next time we got the skid steer out here, we will unload the car, flip the car over and pull the rear axle out, because Ryan from 780 Speed and Custom wants the back axle. I traded him for a center section for a 9-inch.
You know anyone that wants a 4.6 and an automatic?
Yeah, I got a 4.6 that's burns oil but runs good. And actually a pretty strong 4R75W with a shift kit. And I resealed the forward clutch in it. And it runs like a top. I've got the shift kit on the lowest setting, but
It's for sale.
it is for sale. Make me an offer. And it doesn't even have to be a big one, like a couple flats of beer. Get it out of my yard. We've cut some of the wiring.
Get out of my yard.
Well, get it out of Josh's yard. Cut some of the wiring, but 90% of the engine's still here. Like, we didn't damage anything on the engine itself, so. But yeah. Now, we are pretty much done with this thing. Then it's time to work on the Galaxie frame. We just didn't have steel to start on it yet, and we don't have the welder set up yet either.
It's coming.
It's coming. But anyway, that's your little update for today. So I'll cut to the footage of stripping down the front of the Crown Vic here from like, I don't know, 2 months ago. Then it sat in my used car lot of a driveway. But yeah, we'll catch you when we start doing something actually interesting, I guess. Welcome back out to the garage. Not working on the 49 today. I'm starting to get anxious to get going on the Galaxie because Miles Mayhem is getting closer by the day. So I figured I can start stripping down the Crown Vic on my own here without Josh and without the hoist. And I can kind of get the fenders, the bumper, all that stuff off, put it in the back of my truck, take it to the junkyard. So that's what I'm going to get started with. But unfortunately, because the 49 is in here, I'm going to have to do it out in the yard. So we got the door open. We'll get the tripod set up. I'm not sure how much we're going to see, but I'm going to get started tearing stuff out from under the hood, and maybe we'll start pulling fenders and stuff I can do with a bad arm. The doors are too heavy to start pulling doors. But anyway, I'll do stuff like that. I'll get all the extra sheet metal and stuff pulled off that I can, and we'll just start rifling them into the box of the truck, and we'll get that all to the junkyard, hopefully in the next couple weeks here. And then when Josh gets off shift again, we should be able to load the car up. It may or may not still run at that point. Probably not. So we'll probably have to push it or winch it onto the trailer. And then we can haul it to his place and then start doing the same thing on the Galaxie, and also use his hoist to get the body off. Or I may use the crane at work. We'll have to see. But anyway, in the meantime, I'll get set up and we'll start working on it. figure that's enough for tonight. It's already 9 o'clock and my shoulder hurts a little bit now, so I'm gonna take a break. But as you can see, the Crown Vic will not be driving again. There was, I don't know if you could see it on the camera, but there was quite a bit of wire left in there from all the police lights and all the sirens and crap that it had in there. And of course that's all gone now. But yeah, I wasn't taking much care and attention taking it apart, because 98% of what I pulled apart, it is going straight into the dumpster. So at least now the front sheet metal's off. I can, maybe if I get some light, I can pull the wiring out and kind of get it all separated from the cab, the engine harness, the cab harness, the front light harness. I will probably drain the coolant and pull the radiator and everything out too. I'd like to reuse that radiator and all the coolers on the Galaxie if I can, but if I can't, it's not a big deal. So because I want to use it, I'm going to try and save it. And then I guess next is strip the trunk down. All the interior has to come out of it. Yeah, I don't know how much of the interior I'll actually pull, because I can actually leave it because I don't want to save any of it. So I guess undo everything from the cab and get the cab ready to pull off the top. It's almost a little sad that I'm stripping it down, gutting it and ditching it, but you probably couldn't see it on camera and it's too dark outside to actually show you. But when I pulled the covers off the rockers, there's nothing but rust under there. The bottom quarters of the fenders are done. The arches of the front and rear fenders are done. Half the sheet metal and braces and venting plastic for the air dam, it's all got Ford parts stickers on it. So this thing's definitely been rebuilt once or twice, probably while it was still a cop car. So makes me feel less bad about absolutely destroying it. But anyway, we'll call that it for tonight. Okay, so in the meantime, while Josh and I have been doing stuff out at his place, I got the engine into work and the transmission and the bell housing, and I've been doing a few things on them, and I'm still figuring out some stuff, so I'll show you here. So with the transmission, I have a stock, I think it's a truck bell housing cast iron, and I have my ZF 6-speed, and I 3D printed off a ring to center it so that I can get it in position, and now I need to get it mounted. I'm going to build a metal framing that sits along the side here, and it'll sit along the edges of the transmission here, bolt through these holes, but it'll also have a plate as part of it that comes up and bolts through the upper holes. So essentially it'll just sandwich this down, but it's all bolted, so there'll be 3 half-inch bolts and then 2 3/8 bolts holding this side. But the other side, I'm going to have to weld a bracket to the cast iron. Well, I'm going to get a professional to do it, but I'll make a bracket onto the cast iron so I can bolt here, and then I'll probably grind some of this cast webbing out and get a nut welded in here, and then I can have all 5 bolts, which should be plenty. The stick out on the input shaft looks about right, and my slave sits in there nice, so transmission should hopefully be dealt with. So as you can see here, I just looped the fuel line from the inlet to the outlet on the mechanical pump because I was pricing out carburetors, because the one I had isn't going to work how I wanted. So I was pricing out carburetors, and I was looking at like $750 to $850 Canadian by the time I get it. And Ace's EFI was on sale for $850 plus shipping. Yeah, so the girlfriend kind of talked me into it, but I ordered EFI for it. I have a spare pump I've saved from a factory setup. We had a tank that was drilled, so I saved the fuel pump. So I'm going to try and do an in-tank pump on the Galaxie tank. I'll use a Corvette filter regulator inline, and then I got throttle body injection. I went with Ace's EFI because it was really good discount, and I've seen good reviews and bad reviews. I think between me and the people I know, we can get the tuning on it good enough that it should work really well. I didn't go with the full setup with the distributor because I just bought this distributor, so I won't have full timing control, which is something I can do in the future, which would be nice if I'm going to run nitrous and stuff. But anyway, that's where I'm at. I'll catch up with you guys in a day or two here when I've got more done on the transmission. Okay, so we're back at home now. And as you can see, the garage is getting no less cluttered, but good news is the pop machine's leaving soon. Anyway, so I was going to put a mini spool in the diff, this is the half of the center section for the 9-inch, the carrier. And I was going to put a mini spool in here, but that's $70. And I really don't want to spend more than I have to, because I've already spent more than I want to. So I'm just going to weld the spiders to that pinion gear, and then I'll fill a weld on each side so that it can't rotate this differential gear. Not that it will. When this is all lock solid, it can't move anyway, but you know, just peace of mind, I guess. So yeah, I'll weld this in here on all 4 sides here, and then I'll fill some of these teeth right up with some weld so that stuff can't roll, can't rotate. And then hopefully I will have a locked up diff that stays locked up with my low horsepower setup. So I'm going to get after that, and I'll catch you guys back up when I'm done. Okay, so very poorly welded, but it is welded. And, you know, it should hopefully hold. And if it doesn't, well, maybe I'll bring the welder with me in case I got to fix it again. But it should be all right. Shouldn't be an issue. So now I just got to get the bearing kit ordered, and I can get the new gears put on, which I don't know if I've shown yet, but I picked up a set of 4 57 rear gears for this thing, which when I did the math with the 6-speed, with a 26-inch tire at 2,000 RPM in 6th gear, I should do in about 62 miles an hour. And with a 28-inch tire, it'll be about 74 miles an hour. So we should be okay. It should be actually really nice. Shouldn't be too loud cruising. Should be exactly what we want. So I should hopefully have the bearing kit in the next 2 weeks. Then I can get the center section all done, get the diff back together. And as I showed, the bell housing is done. It's on the transmission. The engine is ready to go back in. Or should be ready to go back in. I got a few things I got to get for it, like plug wires, and a thermostat gasket, but that's stuff that I don't need right away. So once the flywheel shows up, the engine and transmission can be mated together. Double check the clutch that I have is the right one, and that the slave cylinder is spaced correctly. And barring any issues with any of that, we're ready to get it put back in the car once we get the frame repaired. So we're making progress. Honestly, we're making pretty quick progress, but I know things like the frame are going to take time. So it's nice to make some good progress now when everything else is going to take quite a bit of time later. And of course, the 49 in the background. I haven't done anything with it. And when I do, I'll make sure I get it on camera. The straight axle, I talked to the guy. He's just finishing it up. I should have it this week. I'm not planning to do anything with the 49 for now, just focusing on the Galaxie, and then the 49. I can start working on it again once the Galaxie's done. I still got to take the 9-inch to work and detab it and shorten it. Things have just been hectic, so worrying about one problem at a time. The winter's over, so the winter project can sit back until we get back to it. So anyway, I'll catch you back up here, probably back at work on something else on the car. I got those gears welded up last night. So I'm going to start Loctiting, putting this together and torquing them, and then I'll get the bearings all pulled off. And my bearing kit should be here next week, hopefully. So the transmission and the bell housing are done. So what I ended up doing was I ground down the cast here, and I had a nut welded in, and I put a stud for the bottom mount of the transmission here. This one up here, I just welded a tab to the transmission. I wasn't even going to put one there at all, but my boss talked me into it. On this side of the transmission, I ended up doing a sandwich plate that bolts to 2 of the 3 bolts on this side of the transmission and into the factory bosses on this side of the bell housing. And then what I did is I ran 1/2 inch plate and then 1/4 inch plate and welded them together, and it actually seats it in there nicely. And of course I did 3D print a ring to center the bell housing to the transmission tightly, just like to get it all dead center. And then I have a Camaro style slave cylinder here, and I'm waiting on a fitting, but I just had to grind just a little bit off the backside in the bell housing here just to make sure there was room. And of course I cut the rivets and took the mount off for the clutch fork. I have a fitting, should be here Monday. It's Friday now. I might have to do a little more clearancing in here once I get the fitting, and then I can do my clutch line straight out the hole here. And it's going to be a bear to bleed, so I might have to bleed it before I finish installing it. And if that's the case, it'll be what it'll be. I might see if I can get a remote bleed line for this. Would make it a lot easier, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. So anyway, once I see my flywheel I have on order, which could be any time in the next month, I can mount this to the engine and get the clutch mounted and double check my stick out, like my compression on my slave, to make sure that I don't have to shim it out or shim the transmission out. We'll have to see. Like you saw last night, I got those side gears all welded up, so I brought it in today. I cleaned it up again. I got the new ring gear bolted to it, torqued on, pulled the bearings off. I pulled the pinion out, and I just got stuff kind of sitting here so I don't, for some reason, even though I shouldn't, forget the order. And Monday morning, well, probably Monday afternoon, I should see my bearing seal and gasket kit, and then sometime before the middle of next week I should have the center section all done and set, and it will be ready to go in the car with the new 457 rear gears. So I'm excited about that. So I have the engine pretty much ready to go back in. No, I'm not going to paint it because, well, number one, I don't care about this intake manifold, because hopefully in a year or so I'll have the money to buy an aluminum one for it. But I pulled the spacer and the fan off and just bolted the pulley on, got the 4-barrel intake on. I have a HEI ready to run distributor. I've heard that the cheap ones are pretty bad, so I bought one of the more expensive ones, and it's probably still not going to be great, but as long as it gets me through the next year or so, then I can go full timing control, because of course I bought an Ace's Kill Shot. And just ignore that sneaky little nitrous plate under there for now. I may or may not, well, let's face it, I'll probably hook up the nitrous, but I'll probably keep it to around 100 shot. But anyway, I have my kill shot here, and I'm excited about it. I got the temp sensor in here for it. So of course, this intake manifold only has one port for a temp sensor. So this one's kind of a little more important than the dash one, especially because my handheld will tell me what the temperature is anyway. But I'm going to install a Corvette filter regulator right near the tank, and that way I only have to run a single line up to here. I'll cap off this port here, and I'll have my 58 psi coming in. So that's not bad. I just got to make sure that my filter will fit on this thing, because apparently drop base filters don't fit, but I can't remember if mine's a drop base or not. Anyway, I do have new valve covers for this, but I'm going to put them on after I get the engine installed in the car. I did throw a scope down the cylinders. They look really good. Nothing looks bad. I had the pan off it. Not because I dropped the drive link for the oil pump into the pan. I wouldn't have done that. But I did pull the pan off. Everything in the pan looked good. There was a little bit of schmutz in the bottom, but it wasn't bad. I put all new spark plugs in. We pulled the exhaust manifolds off, and there was one bolt that I had to have the welder here at work fight to get out, and it still took him half hour, 45 minutes to get it out. So my headers do fit. But my gaskets were wrong because these heads have the small port exhaust, which is also what the headers have. So I have to have small port filter, or small port gaskets, sorry, for it to fit properly. So the headers fit, but they do hang really low. I think they're for a four-wheel drive truck because they hang pretty low, and this one kicks way down to about here underneath the engine. So they might hang a little low. We might have to do some modifying on them. Hopefully not, but if we do, we do. It's already going to be a bear because where that Crown Vic front suspension is going to, like where the steering rack is on it, is in front of the cross member, and this is a front sump pan. I can find a rear sump pan, it's $1,000. Or you can get a four-wheel drive truck rear sump pan, but the front half is still pretty low and they're really hard to find, especially with the pickup tube. So we might just end up sliding the engine ahead and up a little bit to make it fit. We won't know until we get that cross member welded in. But anyway, as you can see, the engine's pretty much ready to go back in. I got a new oil filter on it. I just got to fill it with fresh oil. And I do have a new set of bolts for the flywheel. So when the flywheel shows up, we can get the flywheel bolted to it, we can get the transmission bolted on it, and we can double check all our clutch stuff, and then it's ready to go back in the frame. And the only other thing I really want to do is I got to dig through my crap I have at my parents' house, because I want to put a Chevy one-wire alternator on here just so I don't have to run this regulator and all the wiring mess for it. I did keep all that in case I end up using it still, but optimally I would like to put just a one-wire Chevy alternator on here. That way I only have to carry a spare alternator, not a spare alternator and a spare regulator. And I think it's just a cleaner install. Plus, with the fuel injection and the electric pump and the electric fans, it might just be nice to have a little bit more amperage out of my alternator. Anyway guys, I'm gonna call that the video. That's better part of 2 weeks worth of stuff, one weekend and 2 weeks tinkering around during lunches and coffees at work. Kind of waiting on parts right now and steel and time, because seeding starts right now, so Josh doesn't have a lot of time. I may or may not be out there this weekend. I'm not going to be out there the weekend after, so the time crunch is on, because really right now the most labor intensive job left is mounting the front suspension, mounting the engine, and getting the frame rails replaced. Stuff like mounting the fuel pump inside the tank, mounting the fuel regulator, running lines, that's easy stuff. That's not that hard, especially because like the frame will be bare. I just got to run a new brake line, a new fuel line, and it's done. So hopefully I'm there this weekend and we can get a start on the next video, but both you and I are gonna have to wait and see. So thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Instagram. It's at BarkleyBuilt. I'm trying to post more. I've been kind of dormant lately, but I'm trying to do a little more, and hopefully the videos are every week, maybe every 2 weeks. We'll just see how the workflow goes.